Hi, I'm Gary Allen. Welcome to a new project. We've already made some drastic changes here by reinventing and redesigning the front sidewalk. With this new stamped colored concrete, we'll see how our hardscape will affect the front and the backyard, completing a new designer's landscape. Now, an entrance to a house or a home can make all the difference in the world. And we've made a change here at the cost of the homeowners, their expense, but we think we've made it in a positive way. The original sidewalk was pushed right up against the house, which sometimes people have the tendency to do. Well, we've got this very short front yard, and so we're going to see how that develops. But ideally, we wanted a little welcome message. You couldn't see the sidewalk from the front. So by having one part for the homeowners or a guest that drives in, it says welcome. And then this part would be really for the first or initial driver or homeowner to get from the garage to the front door. And we call this a signature sidewalk because it has a fork in the road, a place, an option to go from 1, 2, 3 points we've connected. If you come up a little closer too, you'll see where the existing walk was. And I hate to say this, but it's so customarily done by builders and contractors. This narrow little walkway coming straight along the house. But what it gives us is we end up with this narrow little bed inside here. And then of course, what's placed is a straight hedge of plants. We can do better than that. As a matter of fact, see the walk initially came right through here and just curved or 90 straight into the door. With this straight turn in here, things were kind of just stiff and rigid, kind of military right down the line. Again, the curved walk seems to meander and it gives you just a feeling of ease and nothing so regimented. Now, we'll catch up with Dan Ferrie, who did the colored stamped concrete, and you notice this pattern continues now all the way to the front door. A nice move. We had a little step here, and since we re-poured, all this is one flush level and one continuous color with the pattern, the brick on the outside and the flagstone, so to speak, on the inside. Looks good, ties in with the color scheme of the door. Now we'll see what bed lines we can develop to make this look better. Again, we've got a little bit of grass in here. I see a high maintenance little point. See this little thumb in here? How would you like to come in there and mow and edge that every week? Well, we're going to take this corner, round things off, and we'll draw those lines in a minute as we start to develop these new lines. Also, you see this, we'll see how where we took out the unwanted concrete and redeveloped that, how much stays bed and where we patch the grass back. I want to get some movement through here. Again, we've got such a little front yard here. The neighbor's right behind you with a long stretch of driveway. I just want to provide these homeowners with an interesting walk, which we've got going, moving now, and with some curves that'll just kind of hold our attention in. We've also done some improvements way in the backyard, but another sidewalk over by the pool. Come on. This is our other new addition to the pool patio, connecting the pool to the driveway. Friends, you see where the homeowner had stepping stones here. So instead of the hopscotch, now we've got a nice wide walk. Matter of fact, we went 4 feet with this so that it would accommodate 2 people side by side, and it makes sense. Friends, the homeowners, visitors, they're going to come in and go out this way to the backyard area. And since it's so short, you know, it wasn't a great investment, so that works out good. We've dug up some of the Aztec grass here, and they'll transplant really well. I want to kind of get them out of the way so you can see the picture. I have drawn some of the line here, and the idea was we had this little island coming off the driveway. So I thought we would go ahead and connect with it. In other words, extending this curve, taking the grass out of here. High maintenance, mowing and edging around every stepping stone, mowing into this corner week after week. We can reduce that to low maintenance plants now, continue our curved line, keeping turf grass over here and converting this to landscape with a tree on this wall that's much needed. That will give that wall some relief. And we also need a tree or so out here so that the walkway now has some enclosure, some definition. We want this to look good approaching the pool, and as we turn around and leave or approach the driveway, a tree will help soften the concrete there. Well, back here we've got this, another point to build an impression. So I want to swing the bed out, if you will, kind of connecting my dots from here. Pretend like the sidewalk is not even there, that grass line or bed line just continues to move over, and the plants will do the same thing. It'll move over so that we create a nice entrance here, walking in the gate. And I want to curve now and just join into this bed that's around the corner. We have this little existing bed on the corner, and we're just going to improve on that. We'll make it a little bit larger here, swing in toward the fence, so it gets a little narrow, and then we widen out again toward you. Which brings us around to the back patio. Rear entrance to the pool, and this is where the homeowner has added another patio here. I think a simple pattern like a circle here is just what this needed. Straight fence, corner of the house, now with trees. We've come in basically with like a 15-foot radius. Very simplistic. It leans back and heads back into the gate, and now with trees and even landscape lighting, this will look extremely nice. Now we've pulled out the unwanted sod. I mean, this was all grass in here just moments ago, so we'll see how that develops. And I'm thinking here, two friends, that we need a little bit of impact on this side, and we've got all grass over here, so why not go ahead, let's make a little half circle bed that will give us the opportunity to place a tree or some low plants under here to kind of match this other side. Well, let's work our way to the front yard and draw some lines there. Okay, we are trying to stay ahead of the wind, ahead of the rain, and get as much done as we can. Out here at the front street, neighbor's meter box, a double meter box for the homeowner here, and a sewer clean out as well as a mailbox. Plants and ground covers are going to help that drastically. And with the neighbor's property line, by the way, it's about right here, so we'll get their permission and do a little tie-in there. How about that? Okay, and we'll see what they think about that. These neighbors get along pretty good, and that's always glad to hear that. Now the hedge comes up, by the way. Straight property line divider, we don't want that to be there visually. We want to take the straight line out of the equation and see if we can move some curves. Now again, I want to try to group these in a bed, so you see me coming, and that is right along here, just to almost touch that little sewer clean out. And I'm going to reverse this curve. See, we have a movement like that. It's going back the other way. I'm going to continue here and go towards the front, jumping over the walk again, coming up here with a little bit of grass. You see, all the turf is going to go on the inside. We'll see whether we move this bed or keep it. But we're taking all the corners out, all the objects we're grouping together, and just turf on the inside. Now I want to head toward that little the little corner and see if we can get another curve to meander in there. So many times I find that just on one side of the walk there's nothing but lawn. And so we're going to try to come get as much of this bed that we cut out as possible where the old walkway was, jump over and keep moving in a circle. Now, this is where we radiate from here back to the property line. That's right. We're going to take that thin, narrow stretch of grass out and pull it all the way over here. You see behind me the house and all that, their front entrance? We're going to put trees in here, even in here, to try to screen that. So when you come up the walkway, your attention is to this home, not the neighbors. I really like this, the way it's come out. Plus with patio furniture and everything else, it's just going to look really good. I've caught up with Dan Ferrie, friends of Ferrie's Decorative Concrete. And Dan, what a tremendous looking job here. Tell us about, what it takes to do a patio like this.
Okay, well first you come in and you lay out the design, pick the design the homeowners want to go with. Then we dig out the grass, we set the forms, we bring in the concrete, pour the concrete, and then the colors we use is a color hardener. We dust the colors on it. We do 3 or 4 applications and work the color in. We picked a color here that would match the tone of the house, and we picked a highlight that would match the highlights in the pool deck and also their waterfall. It's a desert tan release agent. That goes down, it's the color of the grout lines, and it's also the color of the highlights of the stones.
So, the color is actually how thick? It's not...
It goes between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. It's
Okay.
worked in when you bull float it into the surface.
Okay, so you color that top piece, and then your patterns or choice of that is...
Yeah, there's multiple patterns. There's probably 30 different patterns you can pick from, and same with the colors. It's really unlimited what you can come up with as far as your own designs.
I know when we first talked, and we talked about tying in the pool to the existing deck there,
Right.
and the waterfall, and we've done that nicely, but you can pick the trim or the color of your house or the trim or any accent to really pick up that hue,
That's
can't
right. Yeah, you can take any colors. You can match the house. You can use the grout line as the shingles. Pick the shingles for the same color.
Tell me then, as far as cost, how would this relate to just regular concrete?
It's about double the price of regular concrete, but yet it's probably 2.5 times cheaper than if you went and did with the real stone or the real brick in here.
And then what about time frame and labor? You did this in a matter of hours.
This was done in about 3 days' time versus if you'd have done the real stone, you'd have probably been here 2-3 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, so what a difference there. Now, a little bit of a different hue on the front sidewalk out to the driveway and the entrance. But again, you can't view this patio along with that walk at the same time, so a different color works there, doesn't it?
And in the front, they wanted to go with what matched the house because it's more on an angle. You see it from the street. In the back, since they already had the pool deck and the waterfall here, they want to do something different that would match and tie in with that.
Now, again, just talk about colors or your choices here.
It's a multiple colors. There's like 30 different colors you can pick from. You always want to pick a base color. Like you try to pick a color that's going to match with whatever stamp you mix. You can go with there's like notched English slate, flagstone. There's a number of patterns you can pick from. You try to pick a color that's going to make that look as real as you can. Then you go with a darker color for the release agent, which makes go in the grout lines, and it's got to be darker so it'll stand out over top of the regular color.
Okay, I got to design the shape of the patio and the walkway going in the gate. What do you think about the overall concept of the job, even with the landscape and everything?
I love it. I think with the two of them together, it brought it out. It really did something for us.
I think the homeowners feel the same way.
And we also put, after all our cosmetic work and stuff is done, we put 2 coats of sealer on it. It's a xylene-based sealer, but that protects it from ever staining in the future, mildewing.
I see the water's beating up on it even. That's
And
great.
that's because the sealer won't let it in. And as far as easy maintenance, it should be no more than just taking a hose and washing it off. Commercial traffic, in time, you're going to have to seal it more often, but in the residential application, probably maybe once every 3 years, you could come in and clean it up and put another coat of sealer on it. And it keeps it looking new all the time.
Dan, a good looking job here. I know the homeowners will enjoy this for years to come.
And we certainly hope so.
Since so much has happened back here in a fast speed, I thought I would slow down and at least talk to you about some of the things we've done. Installing our patio trees. This is a new variety for us, so we want to share it with you. Elaeocarpus Decipiens. This is an evergreen, meaning that it keeps its leaves year-round, so it makes a great patio presentation. How do you like the straight trunk, clear trunk that you can see and visually use under here so that we can use lower plants to make a statement? More about the Elaeocarpus is that these will grow 30 to 40 feet tall but can be pruned or maintained to any desired height. I like the leaf shape. It does have a bloom in the summer, a white flower, so we look forward to that. But again, it makes an excellent statement here. We have 3 of them to kind of bring in our patio. And do you remember the corner we had? This fills this beautifully. Now, what else we've done, you can't see, but a Glen Special, a compacted pit behind me to kind of fill up the corner. Then the African iris right underneath here, kind of a tropical and a green splash. We go to a burgundy with the loropetalum. We're trying to mix up our color and our contrast here. The white Aztec then looks good on that burgundy foliage. Dropping down close to the patio is the blue Pacific juniper. And we've got that moving in a fashion where it goes over the gate by the walk there. I'll show you that in a second. But the point I want to make is that we have a corner behind me, a straight fence over here, and we've run the plants in the same line or shape or curve as the patio to take out the corner. Can you see the movement, the radiation, the contrast and color and different textures? This landscape planting has come to be one of the prizes of the property. From the different views here, from the pool looking back, it's a beautiful corner, a place to hang out. The juniper, as I mentioned, continue and jump over the walk here. We've etched out some of the grass to get a curved line going down the fence. And with the low juniper in front, look at this beautiful antique rose. Friends, these are fragrant. I can smell it already, how wonderful this is. The rootstock taken from old roses that have been existing in the landscape for years and are hardy, so they've come up with some new varieties there. Well, our 3 trees now, you can see them in place. And also, you see the screening that we've done? We've taken some of the magnolias and placed them in here, and taller azaleas in the background to give privacy to the patio. Also, this bed, most friends would just have grass along here, but the addition of this low planted bed gives us direction and some balance on both sides of the walk. As you go back and reflect on what we had here, we drew the shape of the patio, we formed it up and then poured it. Now with the placement of our trees, the setup of our plant varieties, we're ready to install this. Some interesting things to take note of. We have transplanted and relocated 2 of the magnolias here to kind of tie in with the neighbor's existing magnolia. And our goal there is to really give us privacy from this inside little courtyard feel and let the front door of the neighbors in the driveway kind of be screened with time. Here, simple bed patterns. In other words, a curve that is easy to mow and moves us over the sidewalk back and forth. I think you'll appreciate too, coming out the front door, what you'll see now is with the curved walk as well as the curved bed and the installation of these 2 patio ligustrums, 1, 2, and another one back there. Do you recall the hedge we had here? Well, the new grass line kind of shows us where we've patched and repaired those, relocating them to the side of the house. And now we've got an interesting walk and a move. As you move with me a little bit, I think this is an interesting point here. And that is with the meandering walk, the placement of the trees, it gives us that extra interest. It takes us all the way to the mailbox. You know, when it comes to landscape design and hardscape design, it really applies for some common sense. That's really all it takes. Now, I brought you to the short side of our property here, and many of you may have this scenario where you don't have much accessibility or a fence on the side of the house that doesn't even require a gate because you never travel around this part of the home. Well, we'll go to the other side and talk about a totally different scenario, making it for accessibility, wide enough for everyone. When I say making it accessible for everyone, you never know when you're going to have to take a piece of equipment, lawnmowers, or drive something back into the rear part of your property. So again, what I have found through design is that naturally the part of your property that contains your garage and driveway is most always, inevitably, the piece or the side that you traffic around to the backyard. Always happens. So think about this. From where the driveway enters the garage here, you're going to be moving, whether it's a wheelbarrow, walking, or just common traffic for either mowing, maintaining, or what have you, around this side of the property. That's why even on our project today, you see we connected. The homeowners had the stepping stones that went from their driveway to their pool entrance or their patio. Again, pouring a solid walk is really going to constitute or create more flow and easy trafficking around that side of the property that you use more often. Come on back. So if you find yourself wearing out a path or a pattern between the front and the backyard, especially if you have a gate that you have to go through, you are going to wear that down. And so you may not, again, go as elaborate as the brick pavers here, but can you justify putting in a walk? Now, when it comes to that point of justification, what about the design? Here, instead of a straight stretch that turns the corner, well, you know, we like to use the curves. And I find that a meandering path that takes you from front to the backyard makes the picture even nicer. It's easier to walk on, easier to traffic. And notice again how our sidewalk merges into our curved linear patio over here. Well, once you've decided again whether you need that walk or not, and the design of it in curved linear pattern, look at the other choices you have. Here, we justified the thought process of having a French curved design or a curved design in this patio deck. But if you'll notice, the walkway is simply a brick paver. Here, and instead of a 4x8, we go to an 8x8 tile type appearance, same pavers and colors, but look to how the border keeps the perimeter design of the patio in shape. Now, you could have actually had the brick paver pattern come right through the patio itself, and we looked at that, but I thought it would be more natural or nice to read the consistent border of the outside brick on the patio design, and then have the walkway stop where it meets, and then again begin as this meanders this pathway down to the dock. So, when designing a sidewalk, think about one that meanders, that creates interest, one that you would enjoy traveling on. Now, let's return to our project. Oh yes, we've got to show you the changes taking place here. If you recall, our goal was, we had a couple purposes here, and that was to make it look better, first of all. But you remember the boxes we had in the meter, the long hedge we had here with the trees, the compact pit, the low juniper here. I mean, really, this juniper will crawl on top of this meter box and take it out of the visual equation altogether. And so the sewer clean out, this other meter box, we've grouped those together. Also, you can see the neighboring front door, but as you reach a certain point, visually, this tree comes into play, basically blocks our view out there and opens up the view here. That was the reason of bringing the walkway down here, so that we would have this invitation the minute we hit the driveway. The lower pedalum and the balancing here of the low juniper look really great. Our inside circular curve of turf makes it easy to mow and navigate through what we've encircled the front here. Now, what do you say we take you up from the high reach and show you a perspective of looking down? This is what I like about an up view, a taller perspective looking down. This is what you would see if you were designing or building a plan on paper. The curved bed line, the sidewalk that comes through and intersects the bed here and at the driveway, giving us impact, enclosure, and then crossing over to continue these plants and keep the lines moving. Why don't we go back now and enjoy some befores and afters of the entire project? So you see, sometimes you have to redo the whole sidewalk to make a difference. For the Designer's Landscape, I'm Gary Allen. I'll see you soon.